with the basic idea of the single phase induction motor. Now single phase induction motor is one of the most familiar of all electric motors. The reason is because in almost a lot of household applications as well as a lot of power tools which are used in domestic applications have this type of an induction motor, okay, single phase induction motor, or they are also called as fractional horsepower motors, okay. So this is the one of the most familiar type of motors, most familiar type of induction of motors. Okay, why? Because of their extensive application in household and also portable machine tools. They are having a lot of application. In fact, if you go to your house or your society, the pump which is pumping your water to the water tank, the motor which drives that pump is usually an induction motor. Okay, it is so widespread that if you take the sum of all the fractional horsepower induction motors which are used, it will be very high. That number will be very high as compared to all the other type of motors which are used, including higher horsepower motors. So that much extensive these single phase induction motors are actually there. So why this is actually usually rated for fractional horsepower. Fractional horsepower in the sense very low power motor. These induction motors, single phase induction motors, are usually low powered induction motors. Because why? Because when you are going for higher power ratings, it is better to transmit 3-phase power. That already you know. For higher powers, it is better to use 3-phase, and for very lower powers, you can use single phase. So when you are transmitting 3-phase power, in that case, you can use a 3-phase induction motor. That is why for high HP application, high horsepower application, you have 3-phase induction motors, and for low horsepower induction motors, low horsepower applications or fractional horsepower applications, you are having single phase induction motors. Okay, so usually rated for fractional horsepower. Okay. Now the construction of these type of induction motors is very similar to that of a 3-phase induction motor. Okay, so the construction is very similar to that of a 3-phase induction motor. So what you have, you usually have a stator, okay, and the stator will be a laminated stator, right? Laminated stator with slots to keep the stator winding, with slots to hold the stator winding, okay, and then you are having a rotor. And the rotor is usually, for these type of motors, it is a squirrel cage rotor. Okay. Now, the stator usually has the windings, right? You know that in the 3-phase induction motor you saw, the stator usually hold the 3-phase windings. Okay. That 3-phase winding produces the main field flux. That is what you have learned till now. So here also, the stator will have a main winding. Okay. The stator will have a main winding, and this produces the main field flux. Or the working flux, the rotating magnetic field and all those things, it is usually produced by the main winding. And there is another winding in the stator which is called the auxiliary winding. Why this auxiliary winding is used and all will come as the course progresses. But remember, in the single phase induction motors, in the stator you are having two types of winding. One is called the main winding and one is called the auxiliary winding. And this auxiliary winding operates only during the starting. After that, the auxiliary winding is disconnected from the single phase induction motor, only during the starting of the induction motor. So basically, what is a single phase induction motor? So you are having an induction motor here, okay? So you are having single phase supply. And you are having mechanical power. So that is basically what is a single phase induction motor. In 3-phase induction motor, what you had a 3-phase power, and inside the induction motor stator you had 3-phase winding. Remember what is the 3-phase winding? The 3-phase winding is a winding which is having 120-degree electrical displacement, and these windings are supplied by 3-phase currents. Okay, that is how this 3 rotating magnetic field are produced. So here you are having single phase supply and you are having single phase winding. Okay, you are having single phase winding. Okay, so the single phase winding is what is the main winding which produces the main field flux, and along with that there is an auxiliary winding which is only used during the starting of the induction motor. Okay, so now we will just see a photo of the stator and just try to understand how it actually looks like. So here you can see actually a photo of a stator core and also the rotor. So I've taken this picture from the book Electrical Machines, Drives and Power System by Theodore Wilde. So you can find this image in that book also here. Okay, so what you can see here is that, so this is the stator core. Okay, so this is the stator core. And you can clearly see, you can find that there are slots here, right? See, these are the slots. And what are these? These are actually something which is called the slot liners. Okay, so these are called slot liners. This is actually paper insulation. So these are actually paper insulations which are inserted into the laminated stator core. Okay, and inside this you are having your windings, and of course you know that the windings will be distributed in nature to provide a sinusoidal flux in space. So all those things are valid now also. So these are already there. I have covered it in the AC machinery fundamental. So inside these windings you are having your stator windings, and inside here you are having your auxiliary windings also. Okay, so here you can see the rotor. So the rotor, clearly it is a squirrel cage rotor. So it is a squirrel cage rotor. So the construction is not very complicated, and almost a lot of concepts of the single phase induction motor as well as three phase induction motors are same. Just like the synchronous speed here has the same equation. The synchronous speed, you know, Ns is equal to 120 F electrical divided by P, where F electrical is the supply frequency and P is the number of poles. Okay, number of poles. So if you are winding the induction motors for 2 poles, you could put P equal to 2. If you're winding for 4 poles, you put it as 4. So this equation is not dependent on the number of phases. Ns is not dependent on the number of phases. It is only dependent on the electrical frequency as well as the number of poles. So this equation is not going to change. Because this equation does not change, the slip value is equal to Ns minus Nr divided by Ns, right, into 100. So the slip equations also does not change. Ns is synchronous speed, Nr or Nm is the rotor speed. So these two will not change. Usually the slip value is around 3 to 5%. 3 to 5% for a induction motor. Okay, so all these things you already know. So just to brush up our memory, brush up my memory also, we'll do a very, very simple numerical which is regarding slip. Okay, you might even laugh at this, but anyway, because we have taken a long break, we will do a small numerical. Okay, so what you have to do is that you have to calculate the speed. Calculate the speed of a single phase induction motor. Single phase induction motor. Number of poles is given to be 4. The frequency of supply is given to be 60 Hz, and the slip at full load. So the slip at full load is given to be 3.4%. So if the slip at full load is 3.4%, the speed that you calculate will be the full load speed. If they had given the slip at half load, the speed that you calculate will be the speed at half load condition. Okay, so first you will find Ns equal to 120 F electrical divided by P. So this is 120 into 60 divided by 4. F electrical is 60, right? So this will be 1800 RPM. So now your full load speed will be close to this value. Slip is equal to 3.4%, which is equal to 0.034, right? So you already know how to find the value of Nr. So Nr is equal to Ns into 1 minus S, right? So this is equal to 1800 into 1 minus 0.034, and this value will be 1739 RPM. 1739 RPM. Okay, so this is a very simple numerical. This is just to show you that the equations are valid. Okay, now if you take an induction motor stator like this, so how do you wind this? For example, you need 4 poles. Okay, so what do? You keep up winding here, and this is the 4-pole configuration, right? This is 4-pole configuration. We have studied this in DC machines also. If you need 4 poles, you do a winding configuration like this, and you connect each winding in series so that this becomes north pole, this becomes south pole, this becomes north pole, and this becomes south pole. In the DC machines, this was constant, and usually the rotor was the winding which was rotating. The armature was the winding which was rotating. In induction motor, what happens? This configuration rotates in space, right? This configuration rotates in space. That is called the rotating magnetic field. Okay, so this is the basic configuration. So here you are having your rotor. For example, you are having a squirrel cage rotor. So this is your squirrel cage rotor. Now, it is very easier to explain single phase induction motors. If I always draw this diagram, it is cumbersome for me and it is cumbersome for you. So what we will do? We will take this winding and we will represent it like this. So this is your winding. We will represent it like this. And this is your rotor structure. Okay, it is very easy for me to draw this rather than doing this. Okay, so this is your, we will call this winding as M, which is for main field winding. And in single phase induction motor, here you will be supplying single phase magnetic field. Okay, we are going to, sorry, not single phase magnetic field, we are giving single phase supply here. Okay, so now what you know here is that now this is a 4-pole configuration. Let us take a 2-pole configuration for the time being. So assume that this is a 2-pole configuration. Okay, so this was 4-pole and I'm just taking a 2-pole configuration. So now this will produce a magnetic field, right? So if this produces a magnetic field, let us represent it like this. So if the current is flowing like this, it will produce a magnetic field. We'll call it as B stator. Okay, we'll call it as B stator. Okay, now in 3-phase induction motors, because you are having a 3-phase winding and you are supplying 3-phase currents, this BS value was rotating in field, rotating in time. But here you are having single phase supply. Okay, and it is a single phase winding. So this BS will not be rotating in the space. Of course, its value will keep on increasing and decreasing, but it is not a rotating magnetic field. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, for example, the current is increasing, decreasing. This is an alternating current cycle, right? This is alternating. So when the current is increasing, what will happen to the magnetic field? It will also increase, decrease, and follow the same path. Okay, so in space, if you see what happens, for example, the length of the vector is representing the magnitude. Okay, so initially at this point, we'll take a few time intervals. So 0, T1, T2, T3, T4. We'll take for these intervals. Now at T is equal to 0, you can find the magnetic field value is equal to 0. We'll take flux. Okay, rather than taking magnetic field density, we'll take flux here. Okay, so this is flux. Okay, so at this point the value is 0. Okay, so I'll just put a point here. At t is equal to t1, it is maximum in the positive direction. Let me assume that the positive direction is from left to right. Okay, left to right is positive, which means left to right is positive and right to left is negative. Okay, so now at t is equal to t1, it is having positive maximum. So this is positive maximum. So it is having maximum value. Okay, and at t2, it is again 0. At t2, it is again 0. So I'll put a point here. And at t3, t is equal to t3, it is going to negative maximum. Right, it's going to negative maximum. So if positive maximum is in this direction, so the negative maximum will be in this direction. So the magnetic field is basically starting here, increasing, coming a maximum at this point. From there it is decreasing like this in the positive direction. So it is coming back, decreasing, and it is coming to 0 at this point here at t2. From there, from t2 to t3, it is going to the negative direction, going to a maximum. So this is 0 and this is your t1, and somewhere here you will have between t1 and t2 will be somewhere here, and here it is t2 and here it is t3. Okay, so it is, and one plane it is increasing and decreasing. At one plane it is increasing and decreasing. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now, because these rotor conductors are seeing a changing magnetic field, right? It is seeing a changing magnetic field because at this point 0 to t1 magnetic field is increasing. That means now the rotor will induce an EMF and it will produce a current. The current direction as per Lenz's law will be in such a way to oppose the change in the cause, right? So if the flux is increasing in this direction, the flux produced by the rotor will try to decrease the flux in the same direction. So if the flux is increasing from left to right, the rotor will produce a magnetic field so as to decrease the flux in the same direction. So it has to decrease the flux in this direction. Naturally, rotor has to produce the flux in this direction. Okay, so this will be the direction of the rotor flux from 0 to t1. As an assignment, you should try to do from t1 to t2, t2 to t3, t3 to t4, etc. Okay, what you will find is that at any point of time, the angle between phi s, which is the stator magnetic field, and phi r, the rotor magnetic field, will be either 0 degree or 180 degree. Okay, you just see where you are getting this 180 degree. Okay, it will be either 0 degree or 180 degree. Okay, so in this case actually it is 180 degree. You see where you will get it in 0 degrees. Okay, the angle between phi s and phi r will be 0 degree in some point. Here now it is 180 degree because both are opposing each other. So at any point of time, the angle between phi s and phi r is either 0 degree or 180 degree. Now you all know what is the equation of torque. The torque induced is equal to K into Br cross Bs. Okay, so Br, phi r are similar, Bs, phi s are similar. So the angle between Br and Bs is either 0 or 180 degree, right? Now this is the starting point of the induction motor. You have just simply applied you are having a rotor, you are having a stator, and you have simply applied single phase currents to the winding. This is what is happening. At any point during the starting time, torque induced will be equal to 0 because of this condition. At any point, the angle between the stator magnetic field and the rotor magnetic field is 0 or 180 degree. Okay, so the torque induced will be equal to 0. What does it mean? It means that at the starting condition of the single phase induction motor, the torque induced is equal to 0. In the running condition, it is not equal to 0. That will come in the next lecture. So what it means is that the induction motor, the single phase induction motor, is not a self-starting induction motor. This is a very important statement. So the single phase induction motor is not a self-starting induction motor. Okay, so this is a very basic explanation which I have given. In the next couple of videos, we will be doing a more in-depth analysis of these things using theories such as the revolving field theory, etc. We will be going a little bit in-depth because in single phase induction motor, the interesting concept is this concept where the single phase induction motor is not self-starting. Okay, so that is a very important concept and very interesting concept. Other than that, almost all things are very similar to three-phase induction motors. Okay, so with this, we will conclude today's video. We have understood that the single phase induction motor is not a self-starting induction motor. Okay, so